I'm having another conversation with Dan Milnor, this time about creativity.
Had I known this 30 years ago, I would have had a very different career. But I think being creative in society is a hugely important role. And creatives don't oftentimes get credit for things like contributing to the GDP, but the creative industry is very much a part of culture in every country in the world. And I think as a photographer or anyone who's an image maker, if you're part of that creative community, it comes with a responsibility. And the responsibility is you have to be as creative as you can possibly be. You have to create the best work you can possibly create because society needs that work. Society demands that work. And so for me, I spent 25 years doing nothing in my life except staring through a camera. I was so completely engrossed and driven to be a photographer that I really didn't even lift my head up to look around. And I don't think that that's a smart way of working today. I think as a creative today, you have to be more than someone who presses the shutter because there's a lot of people who could press the shutter and there's a lot of people who can do that really well. But I think the key today and the key to being creative is to be more than just a photographer. And I think that that translates into your entire lifestyle, your philosophy about life. I think things like reading and playing music and going on adventures and playing sports and doing all these things that add to you being a human being are equally as important as your actual photography. And it sounds crazy. I don't think I would have stressed this quite as much 25 years ago as I would today. For example, I reviewed portfolios about 6 months ago. And I really don't review portfolios much anymore because I'm not really entirely sure what to tell people. And when all these people sat in front of me, I've reviewed 6 people, each one sat down in front of me and immediately put their portfolio in front of me. And I said, I need to know why you are sitting in front of me. And not one person could answer that question. And I said, do you understand what it means to be creative in society? Do you understand that that comes with an inherent power and that the average citizen doesn't think that they are creative? Because it was either taught out of them in school or their parents said that it's not a real career and blah, blah, blah. There's a million reasons why adults lose their creativity or temporarily lose their creativity. I think everybody's creative. I really do. But when I said to them, why are you here? What is your contribution as a creative? They couldn't answer. And ultimately, I looked at all 6 people. We never looked at their work. But at the end of it, several of the people came up to me and said, that's the best review I've ever had. And I thought, okay, I'm onto something. This is like something that we all should be talking about on a regular basis, but for whatever reason, it doesn't get talked about. So I think that that's really important, is being creative, is being well-rounded, understanding where you belong in society, and then understanding how you can contribute. When I hear someone say to me, oh, I'm not creative, I always say, yeah, you are. I don't know you, but let me be the first to tell you, you are. You might have lost it. It might be driven down and hidden away somewhere. But the flip side of that is the average person says, I'm not creative. But they look at you as a photographer and they go, you're the creative one. And the second that that happens, what they're doing is they're transferring power to you. And as a creative, you have to take that power and run with it. You can't be an egomaniac. You can't use it in nefarious ways, but you take it and you maximize the power transfer that's given to you because they're saying to you, in essence, hey, you do what you do because I can't do it. And so I'm not creative enough. You're creative. You go take those pictures and you tell that story. And people really have to harness it because that's how you end up with a career. That's what you have to succeed. I've been fortunate because a lot of other people helped me out. Other photographers that I either assisted for, that took me under their wing, that taught me things. But I have to say, making a full-time living as a photographer is a challenge for almost everybody. It is, and it's probably more difficult today than ever because of the number of people in the field, and also the field is changing dramatically. So I would have gotten nowhere without the help of my colleagues, my peers, and the people that I assisted for. And there's a long list of these people that they got me my first meetings with editors. They taught me how to do my taxes. They got me phone calls with photo editors. They taught me how to edit and sequence. They told me how to, they taught me everything. I would be nowhere. I mean, I studied photojournalism. I have a degree in photojournalism. The school can only do so much. And then I got out of school and I technically knew what I was doing, but I didn't know how to be a photographer. I had no idea. It wasn't until I started assisting for other photographers who were established that were shooting for the Geographic and for Life and Time. And I remember driving down the road one day with one of these people that I was assisting for, and he said to me out of the blue, "How are you doing your taxes?" And I was like, "What?" And he said, "Yeah. Are you doing this or this for your taxes? And are you writing this off in this particular way?" And I was like, "I have no idea what you're talking about." And that was, photo school doesn't teach you how to pay taxes. They did none of that stuff. So it was a steep learning curve. There's a lot of people who are rushing into becoming professional creatives. And I would really advise against that now until you've put your time in, because it changes your life when it becomes a full-time thing. And I think a lot of times today, I think a lot of people would be better off working as part-time creatives and then having a job doing something else that's unrelated. And the reason I say that is that the key to being creative is that you want to be able to make your own work. The single most important thing you can possibly do as a creative is to make original work, because original work is unique, and unique work has value, and value equals career. That's how I sort of do the math on that strategy. And so whatever allows you to make your own work as a creative is what you should be doing. And oftentimes, if you're working full time, you're involved in a lot of jobs that aren't going to help you get there. You're doing work for other people. I realized that after the first 10 years of my career, I realized that my portfolio was not my portfolio. It was someone else's. And that it was always going to be someone else's unless I stopped what I was doing, took a break, learned who I was, and started to make my own work. And I did. And it took me about 3 years of doing my own work before I really understood what I was doing. And so I think that's really it, is the key to being creative. And the hardest thing is to find out who you are and to make original work. Thanks for having me, Marc. I always enjoy doing this. Happy when people comment as well. So let me know what you want to talk about. And I'm happy to do this whenever we can. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us again, Dan. We love having you part of AYP. And thank you for watching. Hey, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of our new episodes. And remember to leave your comments. We love hearing from you. Please share, please like, and remember to get out and capture your own images of life.